every week I think, surely this is the week that I run out of things to say and I can't deliver an off-the-cuff video. And yet, somehow, I end up blowing smoke for 40 to 60 minutes. It is really hot in here, so if you see me sweating, mind your own business. Okay, episode 6, halfway through the season. And what a ride it's been.
マスダのプリントやんそれ。謎趣味すぎるわ。好きな？
私は面白くて好きやけど、哲学？
This is new.
スワンプマン。
Okay, this isn't. The setup for it was new.
死んだんや。そしたら記憶も見た目も全く同じ男が別に生まれて。
What an on-the-nose philosophical experiment.
ドイツ人物やと思うか？
Newborn guy. I like that he used the word newborn.
別物やろそんな。
なんで？
なんとなく。
やって人間って新陳代謝しとるし、数年前と同じ細胞やないもんさ。実質それと同じやない？
本当の男は沼の中で死んでいっとるんよ。
したらもう別人やろ。やって一瞬でも二人存在しとるやん。
結局他人なんて外から見たもんでしか判断できやんし。
でもええんちゃう？どうでもええ。
Yeah, I think this is a really good look at all 3 of these characters, and possibly a look at how Asuka and Maki might think of this new Hikaru if or when they find out about him. Maki is straightforward. He's not entertaining this philosophical question. He's just saying, well, obviously they're different guys because they're different guys, but I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me. And so I could see him, if he finds out about Hikaru, just being totally like, well, that's crazy, but I don't care. Like, not I don't care in a bad way, but like, you may be a different Hikaru, but you're Hikaru, so why does it matter in a way? And then Asako engages the question on philosophical terms and is looking at it from a definition of like, what is the self? If your body replaces all of its cells every couple of years, but you're still you, then potentially they could be the same person or different people. She is open. She is listening, you could say. And then Yoshiki cuts in with, well, but he's still dead. That's where his mind is at. He is less concerned with the problem or the answer to the question. And he is just honed in on that reality. Somebody died here. And this little cold open gives you a really good snapshot of all of these characters and their outlooks or their worldviews or perspectives. Right, and this is purely a hypothetical for them. They might answer the question differently if it was specific to Hikaru, if it was someone they know. I'm inclined to say it's the soul. The death of a person is not just the stopping of their heart, but the vacating of their soul. But that's a spiritual concept, and there's really no way to prove it scientifically, and so it stays in the realm of philosophy, of something we'll never know, but we can speculate about. Because the soul is not an organ. If we have souls, and I believe we do, they can't be measured. Hold on. My roommate just texted me that they got lemonade from a lemonade stand on the side of the road. I'm gonna be right back. Episode 6, Asako! Yes. Okay, now that's what you can't be doing that. Live Yoshiki reaction. What were you about to say, Yoshiki? He probably thinks it's not a good idea because if they're around Hikaru for longer times, something might slip. Is that a K truck? Yes, uncle. What a beautiful, fun summertime atmosphere. Just being out in the truck in the heat with the bikes, beautiful. I love it. This is new. That was fun. Again, with our moth to a flame, dead insect imagery. Call back to the first episode, the first scene. What a spooky and excellent way to show that Tanaka's creature is on the trail, that it's out hunting. Especially contrasted with the sleepover episode. That is so fun. It's my belief, at least according to my tastes, that horror is at its best when it's mixed with another genre. The way that, like, the X-Files is sci-fi and horror mixed together. And one of my favorite book series as a kid, Del Toro Quest, is horror and high fantasy. And something like Attack on Titan is hard to categorize, but at least towards the end, it's horror mixed with a war film. I've always been a big fan of horror blending with other things. When you have two genres to play off of, your toolbox is so big. You can do so much. I don't think I have ever seen horror and slice of life done up like this before. And to be honest, it's a combination that I never considered or would have thought of. Horror lends itself well to fantasy or sci-fi because you can have aliens or monsters or things like that, but slice of life does not immediately lend itself to horror because you don't have a lot of crossover tropes or crossover structure. So reading this was like, genuinely, actually, I didn't know you could do that. And it does it so well without feeling like the two parts of the story are separate. And I think having that shot of Tanaka's hunting dog right after they say, let's all have a sleepover, it just brings to mind all the camping trips and sleepovers and things that I did with my friends, telling scary stories and being genuinely afraid of what could be out in the woods, even though we know there's nothing there. But in this story, like, there could be something. There is something there. There's something not even in the woods, but in Hikaru, and nobody knows it.
わざわざこんなところまで泊まりに来んの大変やったろみんな。
週末やし、親に車出してもらったから大丈夫やで。
よしきさ、俺ん部屋からなんかゲーム持ってきて。
Oh. His room was so bright and yellow in Yoshiki's memory. Color of sunflowers, the color of light and life. That's Kohei's hat.
この祭りはな、もともとあの山の神さんための祭りやねん。やからよしき、あの山には入らんように。
おい、こんなとこおったんか。よしき、もろこしうまいか。
今日花火もあるらしいで、一緒に見ようや。うん。
トシ、向こうでみんな飲んどるに、お前も行くで。
今行くわ。
Well, that's the first time that Yoshiki's dad has ever exhibited a facial expression. I think it's completely intentional that Kohei's hat and boiler suit are orange. Generally, orange is a bright, happy, sunny color, but in this story specifically, orange is associated with Hikaru, and it's specifically associated with death because Hikaru and I guess his dad also owned a lot of things that were orange. They both died in these mysterious, foreboding ways on the mountain. And this show has kind of conditioned me. It's a cue that I'm watching out for. So when I see something that's bright orange, I immediately just think death. So Kohei walking up in a bright orange boiler suit is just like death flag, death flag, death flag. Orange is not an ominous or threatening color normally, but the show conditions you to see it as such.
父さんとはろくに話してこやんかったけど。なんやこれ。光の字よ。インドの役目。
Save that for later. Infinity!
無駄に発音ええな。
みんな、こっち見て。
Stop looking at each other. Look over here.
ヒカル、なあれ、クラ。
おお、あれおどうや、うちの。
お堂と祠って何が違うん？あ、すまん。
ふざけんな。
火つけたばっかやったんやけど。
知らんかな。
謝れ。
あ、チャッカメンつかんくなってもた。
Wait, I want to know the difference between temples and shrines.
山井さ行ってもらってくるわ。
私もついてく。
I'm pretty sure she suspects something. I doubt she's thinking body snatcher, dead came back wrong, but I think she knows that something's up with him. That something's been up with him for the past
今
6
年夏
months.
の終わりにでけえ花火大会あるらしいで。
マキ行くん？
悩み中。
ちょっと二人追いかけてアイスも追加でって言うてくるわ。
うん。
Sure, leave the two of them
やっ
alone.
ぱ行こうかな、花火大会。
They're not gonna have anything to talk about. Yeah, go see the fireworks together. Maybe the story will end with the big fireworks festival. I'm of the opinion that this will not be a story with a happy ending, but I think side characters like Yuki and Maki will be fine.
ヒカルが行方不明になったんってあの山？
うん、そやに。あんまり覚えとらんけど。
What a way to start.
そっか。あん時お通夜みたいやったわ。ほんまに。戻ってきてくれてよかった。意味わからんかったらスルーしてほしいんやけど。
This is very brave.
あなたは一体誰ですか？
How does she know shot? Do it, do it. I want to see it. Okay, thanks for cutting.
ほら、あっこ。なんかガシャンガシャン言うとるの聞こえるやろ？
Gashan Gashan. Japanese onomatopoeia are always so evocative. That looks like the curse from Princess Mononoke. I am noticing a lot of things in this show and manga that look like Princess Mononoke references. Enough that I'm like, okay, that has to be intentional.
死んだ人の魂が向こうの世界に行ってそんでまたこっち世界に戻ってくんねん。輪廻転生って言うんよ。
That was beautiful.
ゆうちゃん。
The silhouette there implies that she can see it, but we know that she can't see it. But it's there for us to see it since you can't make it out of directional sound. And, like I have said before, floating words do not a very good ghost make. So, doyalistically, we can see it because they have to communicate there's a ghost there somehow. But, Watsonianly, she cannot see it, she can just hear it. It's just different. Right. It's dangerous, but it's not particularly evil.
守ってくれようとしたん？
大丈夫、もう勝手に飛び出したらあかんやろ。よかった。
あっちん世界の人たちは怖いけど、ただ悪いもんばかりではないと思う。あなたは一体誰ですか？
なんでバレた？なんでバレた？なんでバレた？お。
Love it when his eyes get freaky like that.
おい。
ASAKO!
I'm going to have to deduct some points for that. There was the how does she know panel. Like really, really cool. I'll just put a picture of it up so you can see it. They didn't really do anything with it. Disappointment. Not really anything to convey that freezing time, standoff, what do I do? How does she know? Confusion, shock, and fear. On both sides. Asuka's afraid of Hikaru a little bit just because she thinks he's from the other side, but she knows he's not bad, but she knows that this is risky. Hikaru becomes afraid of Asuko because the more people know, the more he is in danger. The risk of someone knowing and not understanding or not accepting him is very great.
何して。バレそうになったからつい。
つい何を。
で待ったら悲しいよな。
Yeah.
殺そうと人の命やん。こんな
死んどるのと生きとるのでそんなに違う。生きとる方が大切な。俺には命ないけど、死んどるんも生きとるんも俺からしたらさほど変わらん。死ぬのはそんな怖いことちゃうよ。ただ形が変わるだけやろ。
For you, yes. For
俺
everyone
の
else,
ことは殺してない
no.
って嘘か。
それはちゃうよ。お前が死んだら一緒にアイス食えんくなるやん。
That's it?
こんなことで女朝子も同じやろ。命が何かもわからんくせに何が特別や。近所のばあさん、松浦さん殺した。
Now the pieces are coming together, yeah. Whoa! I loved that. So let's talk Buddhism. Whatever creature Hikaru is, he is perhaps outside that cycle of life, death, and rebirth that Asako's granny was talking about. Because he's not alive. To him, life and death are just two different phases of being. Whereas in like the Buddhist cycle, you have life and death and reincarnation and 6 different planes that you cycle through. Your spirit, your essence, your self is on a journey through all these different planes. And so life and death, in a sense, are impermanent because it's part of the cycle and you will continue to be reborn throughout the cycle. But the reality remains that for humans who are alive, death is completely final because there is no coming back. Even if you are eventually reborn and reincarnated as someone else, but you, as you were in life, are no longer there. That line from the cold open, when Yoshiki said, yeah, but the guy still died in the swamp, is the key to all of this. Even if he can understand that somehow Hikaru is outside of the cycle of life and death and rebirth, and is not really alive nor really dead. And by Hikaru, I mean Hikaru. That does not change the fact that Hikaru, the real one, the original one, died and is not coming back. When new Hikaru says life and death are basically the same thing, that is an affront to Yoshiki. Because it's coming from a place of complete ignorance for Hikaru, who is completely outside the whole thing and can just phase in and out of states of being. For him to say, well, it's just death, it's not really anything different, you just kind of go from one place to the next. When Yoshiki's whole life has been rocked by the deaths of Hikaru and to a lesser extent Kohei. It's just an insane thing for Yoshiki to hear. Because what Hikaru says is, on a cosmic scale, death and life aren't that different. What Yoshiki hears is, death doesn't matter, or death is unimportant, or Hikaru died, so what? Asako might be dead, so what? Mrs. Matsuura is dead because Hikaru just decided to kill her for some reason. Probably because she recognized him. So Yoshiki's conviction to live alongside Hikaru and help teach him, help him to become human, he's realizing that might be a fool's errand. That might be impossible if this newborn Hikaru can't even comprehend the weight of life and death. And if he doesn't understand the difference between life and death, he can't understand Yoshiki's grief and emotions over Hikaru's death. That diminishes Hikaru's death. That means Hikaru's death meant nothing to Hikaru. And Yoshiki can't abide that. And now he's probably thinking, I have lived alongside and welcomed into my life this thing that is flippantly killing people. And only didn't kill me because he, for some reason, decided that I was special. Kurebayashi was right. This has to stop. This cannot go on. And here's this thing that I've been falling in love with. And it's indiscriminately killing people. Friends, members of the community. And you can't talk to anybody about it. You can't ask anybody, what do you think I should do? You can't even try to get anything off your chest. You can't ask for advice. This poor freaking kid.
ヒカル大丈夫やった？ 幽霊に取りつかれとるから。
More or less, yeah.
ヒカルが帰ってきてから時々さ、声がおかしかったんよ。
Mm.
これでもそのやばいやつ、ヨシキを守っとる。
Yeah, she had to have heard
もしかしたら話通じ
more
るか
than
も
just
っ
the
て
pop that
話し
happened
か
in
け
the
てみたん
forest.
よ。
I'm sure she might have
ヒ
heard
カ
the
ル
thing
の中のそい
approaching.
つに
She's referring to Hikaru by name. Maybe she doesn't think that he's dead and came back as something else, but that he is still alive, but there's something inhabiting his body with him. That's pretty cool, though, that she's known this whole time, and the giveaway to her was not his personality, but something that only she could hear. She might have felt quite similar to Yoshiki, where she's thinking, I'm the only one who knows this. I have to keep this secret. I can't tell anyone, but it could be really dangerous. Safe.
頭おかしいやつやん、こんなこと言う。
No, you're
二人とも
good,
ごめん、
girl.
忘れて。
信じるよ。
ありがとう。
貧血とかやったら怖いし、先戻って。
Maybe it's the best move for now to just be like, yeah, there is something up with Hikaru. You heard right. But maybe just don't really worry about it for now. Her theory is slightly off, but they're not really correcting her. And that's probably the safest move for her for now, because it confirms her theory, lets her know that like everything's okay for now, but it's not going to draw her further into this. If we have to tell this whole story of like Hikaru died and I saw his body and then came back and then the god is like inside of him, and also sometimes I put my hand in there just to feel around, like she didn't need to know all that. So I don't think this is an example of dismissing someone and letting them believe a lie. It's more of a safeguarding by affirming that, yeah, you've got the right idea, but let's just leave it for now and keep you safe from all this other stuff, or as safe as you can be.
よしき
Yeah, do not try that again.
昨日急に帰ったけど。
なあ、朝子
Be normal, act
ヨ
normal.
シキにお大事にって。
言うとくわ。
Go sit in the corner and think about what you've done.
命って何やろ。死んだってこの世から消えるわけはないし、ヨシキの魂綺麗なんよな。あかん、ヨシキには死んでほしない。でもなんでやろ。俺が
He
思っと
wants
る
his soul, he wants to eat it.
それともヒカルの記憶が。
I do think it's Hikaru's memory, the feelings for Yoshiki, whatever form they may take, that is preventing the Hikaru entity from going that last stretch and just taking Yoshiki's soul for himself. Because Hikaru's wish was for Yoshiki to be safe, and so if he dies, that's not granting the wish. If the Hikaru entity takes Yoshiki's soul, eats it, consumes it, whatever the mechanism or the language for that is, it would change shape, and it would still be Yoshiki's soul, but he would be dead, and so the Hikaru entity would not be able to enjoy being around Yoshiki. Great episode, banger as always. I think we are in for a treat in episode 7. Now we've got Yoshiki swinging the pendulum in the complete opposite way. He was scared of Hikaru, and he's like, okay, I will still try to love him and teach him, and now he's like, I'm not even going to speak to him because I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what he thinks of anything. I don't know what he's capable of. And I remember when I first read the manga thinking like, dang, this kid is just doesn't know what he thinks, doesn't know what he feels. He's just swinging this pendulum back and forth all crazy. But it makes sense with each new piece of information that Yoshiki learns. It recontextualizes what he thought he knew, and then he ends up feeling the opposite of the way he felt before because this changes everything. I didn't know this. I didn't know that Hikaru. I knew Hikaru was capable of killing. I didn't know he would just kill. And maybe it's for the best that Hikaru does not continue to live here with us. With that being said, it has been 55 minutes, so I think I'm just going to wrap it up there. See you next week. Stay hydrated. It's going to be real hot this weekend.